All right, here we go. This is what
the life of a soldier is not just a job, it's a calling and a sacred tradition passed down from father to son, brother to sister, and one generation to the next. At every hour of danger, our noblest citizens have answered that call. Time and again, our enemies have learned that if you dare to threaten the American people, American soldier will chase you down, crush you, and cast you into oblivion. The last sound you ever hear will be the chilling howl of Black Hawk.
This is the peace president, I'm told, so I would hate to see what a war president would look like. Despite the whole peace through strength Orwellian thing, we get that. Let's hear what else he has to say.
Thunderous boom of artillery fire, or the ferocious roar of a U.S. Army infantry brigade.
The musical score is epic. The visuals, not so much. I could have done this a lot better.
Our adversaries, there's no greater fear than the United States Army. Now it's your duty to shield the flame of freedom that was first lit 250 years ago by the heroes of Concord Bridge and Bunker Hill. Standing before you today, I am more confident than ever that in the days ahead and every generation to come, the U.S. Army will heap glory upon glory. You will protect every inch of U.S. soil, and you will defend America to the ends of the earth.
Wow. You don't have to like the guy, but man, that was one hell of a speech and production. I don't even know if the speech is new, but this video is new. Trump released this triumphant call to arms today on his Truth Social account. The timing, of course, is incredibly sus, considering the fact that it appears as though they're evacuating embassies in the Middle East. Now,
Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honor unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000 men. The name of this one is, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Right? The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. You heard the words, that came out Trump's mouth. All right? Basically. Which proves again that America ain't nothing but, the Roman Empire, all over again. In fact, I'm going to play it over. Listen carefully, and I'll just interject with some precepts, to prove, that, hey, this is just revised Rome all over again. All right?
All right, here we go. This is what
the life of a soldier is not just a job, it's a calling and a sacred tradition passed down from father to son, brother to sister.
Right, and of a soul there, going back into the Roman Empire. All right? And what do these devils do? They are actually specialized, in going to other people's lands, and taking it by force. All right? This is the book of Micah, chapter 2, verse 1. It says, woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. Why? Because the earth was given into the hands of the wicked, right? Job 9:24. All right? And they covet fields and take them by violence, right? They big up the army, right? Going back into Habakkuk chapter 1, I believe, chapter 1, yeah, the violence that they come with. All right? And as well as Deuteronomy 28 chapter. It speaks about them as the eagle fly at, that and that's the symbol of America. All right. It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Right. This is what these devils do. All right, because they have the pride. They believe that they can do anything. All right, this is what the scriptures spoke about them in the book of Habakkuk. Habakkuk, I believe, the second chapter. All right, let me get that real quick. All right, this is Habakkuk chapter 2, and starting at verse 4, it says, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." They have this guy. There's actually a video where they said that Trump, 27 psychiatrists says Trump was basically says a narcissist. I believe it was a stronger word that they use. All right, 27 of them. Basically he is going into a tyrant. All right, because of that pride. He has great pride. All right. It says, "Yea, also because he transgressed by wine," that's his doctrine. All right, he is a proud man. Wisdom of Solomon, the second chapter, goes onto the doctrines. That anything weak is not good. All right, basically. All right. It says he is a proud man, right? "Neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell." That's why they have so many embassies and bases all over the world, which ain't nothing but garrisons, military garrisons. All right. "And is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his?" Right? "Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them?" And that's exactly what's about to take place. All right? "Because thou hast spoiled many nations because of what the military might, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, and he may be delivered from the power of evil." All right? And it's not going to work. "Thou hast committed shame, consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people." Right? So this army they're boasting of, that's what they used. That was the instrument to cut off many people. "And has sinned against your soul. So this is the end for America as we know it. All right? He is saying all these prideful words, but at the end of the day, it's the end. And the Lord said it, when you go to the book of Obadiah. All right, let me get that real quick. All right, the book of Obadiah speaks on that. Obadiah, let me see if I can get this. Bear with me a moment here. All right, the book of Obadiah, chapter 1. Well, it's one chapter. And verse 4 says, "Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle." Right? What's the symbol, the eagle of America? Right? Symbol of America is the eagle. Right? "And though thou set thy nest among the stars." We just read about that, right? The space program. Right? The satellites, the space station. Right? "Thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord." And that was the beginning of the end, the space program. All right, where they consider they want to go up into the heavens. All right, that was the end for them. The pride of thine heart had deceived them. Right? I'm gonna jump just a couple of verses up. Obadiah 1 and verse 2. It says, Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart had deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground? That's their pride. That's their pride that the American army is gonna gonna heap glory upon glory, that they're gonna conquer the whole world. But that time is at an end. Let's play some more.
And one generation to the next, at every hour of danger, our noblest citizens have answered that call. Time and again, our enemies have learned that if you dare to threaten the American people, American soldier will chase you down, crush you, and cast you into oblivion.
That's pride. Great pride. And this is what they did to our own people who was actually fighting with them. All right? they trample us down since back in the days of the Roman Empire. This is the revised Roman Empire. Then the Lord said what? The kingdom of heaven suffered violence. Let's get that. The kingdom of heaven suffers violence. Let's go here. Matthew 11 and 12. Let's get that. All right. The book of Matthew, chapter 11 and verse 12. It says, it says, and from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. Who were the violent in that day? The Roman Empire, the empire of the Edomites, the so-called white men. You know, that's why the kingdom of heaven suffered violence. I know, because they were the ones in rulership. Right? Second Thessalonians 2 and verse 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, right? Son of destruction, who is what? Esau, Edom, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called the Heavenly Father, or that is worship, so that he as the Heavenly Father sitteth in the temple of the Heavenly Father, showing himself that he is the Heavenly Father. Remember ye not that when I was with you, I told thee these things, you know. So the Lord told us these things, the Apostle Paul said it, but Yahushua was dealing with the Apostle Paul. And he said, we just read in Matthew 11 and 12 that in the kingdom of heaven suffered violence. So these people are the Edomites. They are the Roman Empire all over again. All right? That's their pride. Their pride was great back then and still great now. All right? And, now they're in the end of their rulership. The Lord has appointed his bounds which he cannot pass. All right? This is the end for Esau, Edom. All right? So this is his last hurrah. He can boast all he wants. It says, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 5, remember ye not that when I was with you, I told you these things. And now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. And he's revealed now. All right? This is the time. The prophets revealing him. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. The mystery of the woman. What we read about in Revelation, I believe it's the 17th chapter. Mystery of the woman, Babylon the Great. All right? The abominations, the one who wreaked the abominations of the earth. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until what? Until he be taken out of the way. And this is him being taken out of the way by the preaching. Right? The foolishness of preaching. You see, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, the prophets, according to Amos 3 and 7, are the Lord's mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, when Yahushua comes through. All right, because of this man's great pride. Great pride. Right? He has that God complex according to Ezekiel 28 and 1. Let me hit one more precept. I'm going to close this out. Right? Let's get the book of Isaiah 14, verse 9. It says what? Hell from beneath is moved for thee, to meet thee at thy coming. Yeah. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth, all of the other heathens who reigned before. It's stirring them up. It had raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Right? This is what's happening. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Yeah, they're becoming weak. Right? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Right? Those worms represent your corruption. You being corrupt. You being you're basically rotting. All right, you're rotten. All right. You're being taken down, and starts with your money, your corrupted money system. All right. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, which is light bearers, son of the morning? How art thou cut to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. right? And that's what they pride themselves on. Remember, they had the he said the last sound you will hear is basically an Apache helicopter coming for you. Something roughly paraphrasing.
Cast you into oblivion. The last sound you ever hear will be the dueling howl of Black Hawks.
See that?
This is the
That's what he said. The chilling sound of Black Hawk. So they rule the skies, you know, they're the gods, right? That's what he wanted one to believe. Right? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of power. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north in America, Babylon the Great. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, right? I will be like the Most High. So he's going to be flying. He want to make his own chariots and fly in the heavens. All right? That's the space program. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof? Yeah, with your great army, your Air Force, your Navy, your Marines, all right, your Special Forces. You know, you made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. All right? All the kings of the earth, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as a raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword. Right? That's the nuclear missiles coming for you, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, saith the Lord. And I will also make it a possession for the bittern. So what are you talking about? They go protect the land every square inch? No. The Lord is going to destroy every square inch. Make it the lake of fire. Right? I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith Yahweh power, Bashem Yahushua of hosts. And that's going to be the end of America and Trump in one. All the pride of that place. All right. You know, the pride of Babylon the Great. It's true. All right. That's a man of pride right there. You know, but his pride is going to be brought to nothing. All right. The pride of their heart have deceived them. Pray this lesson was edifying. Till next time, Shalom, Waharak Babal.